happen to miss it, definitely go back and watch it. I mean, it was such a good one. Even my dad watched it, and he doesn't
really?
watch anything. Yeah, he just like let me know. I was like, "Hey, you watched your podcast, dude? It's pretty good." I was like, "Nice." So it was a good conversation. It got crazy, a lot of, I think, it helped us like align with the. That's the whole point of it, right? It's the community and the dev team aligning 100% on things. So we're going to keep this going every week. Everybody kind of had like an impromptu vote. Sundays seems to be the consensus day, Sunday, 1 p.m. Central Time. So we're going to keep it going until, for whatever reason, that becomes a problem. But
yeah,
for now, it all looks good.
Yeah, don't pay attention to the thumbnails on these YouTube channels. We're still creating the process flow for everything. So we're going to start figuring out ways to kind of automate a lot of this stuff. So, but yeah, if you're listening to this, you guys have a chance to win a Rovi transporter today. And most importantly, the unboxing of the transporter happens on the 16th at this time, 6 p.m. UTC on Thursday. So September 16th, put that in the calendar. I think that event is posted on Decentraland events calendar as well. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and kind of look for it, subscribe to it, and I think you'll be notified when you do.
Big Ben says I can make the thumbnails.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm going to reach out to you for that.
Will's thumbnail game a little weak these days.
It is.
It's all good. Okay, word. Hell yeah.
All right.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, like you were saying, so your dad, did he have any feedback on like the conversation that we had? He probably had no idea what the hell we were talking about.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? Surprisingly, he's a little savvier than I expected when it comes to these type of things, but
oh really? That's cool.
Yeah, he keeps up with the news anytime there's like any metaverse update, and he's like telling me about it.
Oh really?
A couple of weeks late, but still, it's like it's good.
Like, hey,
it's good to know he's paying attention, right?
Did you hear about Mark Zuckerberg?
Exactly. It's like, yeah,
a month late.
Yeah, as soon as it makes like front page news headlines, then it's hitting his window, right? But yeah, it's just funny to see. So he's keeping up with the happenings, which I'm sure everybody else is here. I mean, we're all deep in the happenings, so we don't need to pay attention to headline grabbers. Yeah. Like we are making headlines, right? That's the whole point.
You know, that's one funny thing to talk about. It's really hard to keep perspective on things because we're so deep into this. It's hard to know, like, you know, how many people actually are aware about what's going on in the metaverse, specifically us, even then. And I mean, if you're listening to this right now, I mean, it's still so early that it's kind of hard to put your finger on like how early this is. There's still a ton of development, like just outside of just Rovi's, just in general metaverse. Like there's still a lot more stuff to kind of build that infrastructure that's a little bit more sustainable than what we have here. But that's why we're here. That's why we like talking to you guys. And you know, the more brains on identifying the problems, the better the solutions are going to be. So yeah. So big thing today, we want to kind of go over a little bit of the stuff that happened yesterday. So we had a community call, which is going to be weekly, Sundays at 6 p.m. UTC as well. Seemed to be a time that worked for most people. And so that's going to be consistent Sundays. And then, of course, the community call on Mondays where we kind of give updates on the development and everything that's supposed to be happening within this week. And then every community call on Mondays, we will give away one Rovi transporter. And I guess once we have the unboxing, of course, we're still going to be giving away transporters at that point. So yeah, that's probably the main reason we like to give these out, is so that people can hear what we have going. Hopefully, anyone new in this kind of ask the questions that may not make sense. We got someone with a badass suit walking around me. It looks like the Predator. Oh, I think this is the suit from where's this suit from? Do you recognize this, man? I feel like I recognize it.
Fortunately, I can't be in there right now.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Never
my
mind.
Stuff is acting up. Hold on. I think I can watch your screen.
Watch your screen.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, you can.
never mind. Let me get out of there quickly. Cannot watch your screen.
Yeah. Well, anyway. So a couple of updates. So we do have the Pope. Actually, let's give the Pope right now. Let's give it away. All right. So the process to getting the Pope is make sure you DM the POAP bot. Send him a direct message, and the password for the direct message is. Let's see. Let me look it up here. It is unique Rovi. So one word, lowercase, unique Rovi. That's the password. And then post a confirmation just in case anything squirrely happens.
Yeah, type it in the chat. Unique Rovi.
Unique Rovi.
Like how Bitpool spelled it. Is that correct? Okay, Juxon got it. Damn. Fast on the trigger, dude. Very nice. Poapped.
He poped it.
Poked. Yeah.
So let me DM.
Okay, beautiful. All right, cool. Looks like you guys are getting it. Yeah, man. POAPs are hit and miss now these days. Like, 1 week it'll be down, 1 week it won't. So it's good to see. Dude, this one has a nice little bow tie accessory on it and everything, dude. I like it. I like your Rovi selection.
So yeah, the Rovi. So
it's got a weapon. Yeah,
it's got a weapon. So this was randomly generated. So what I did was I went to kind of the Rovi kind of system that we have for generating random robots, and I hit random, and then it popped this guy out. Had some accessories, had a weapon, and what's pretty cool is that we can kind of like automatically remove the background. So I did that, and it was pretty quick to put together. But point is that every single community event will see like a completely randomly generated Rovi as part of the Pope scheme that we have going. So it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're unfamiliar, this is your first time. Yeah, the POAP's not located anywhere in Decentraland. It's just a Discord message you got to send to the POAP bot.
Yeah, I mean, we want to encourage people to join the Discord only because that's where everything happens. Community conversations, the updates, everything happens on Discord first. And so, yeah, that's we want to encourage people to join Discord. That's why we do that.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, there's more people here than were yesterday. So I think we should reiterate a few things of like what the community was discussing yesterday during our roundtable. I mean, I think we're going to use that platform, these discussions to, get a lot more direct feedback and suggestions, whatever you want to call it. And that's what we did, right? We asked a few questions that we've been internally kind of discussing amongst ourselves, like what makes the most sense to prioritize, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. You asked one, refresh my memory though, because I remember the one I asked. Mine was essentially thinking about the Rovi Matrix metaverse. What should take priority as far as like development concerns? Is it more of like the social infrastructure or like the play to earn infrastructure?
Yeah.
And then that plays into Decentraland too. It's not just for the Rovi Matrix metaverse, but it's good to know people's opinion. And yesterday, the mass consensus was the first focus should be the social aspect, which I think makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yes, agreed.
Yeah. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the chat. Like social meaning, making sure this is a shared experience. You guys can invite your friends to your land. You have the custom ability to customize your land with whatever metas you want. If you want to create like a freaking lemonade stand, you could do that. If you want to create a nightclub scene, you can do that. But the main focus is the community being able to congregate to these virtual spaces and socialize through the metaverse, as opposed to just being destinations for extracting value, right? Which, I mean, obviously we want both to happen, but one has to take priority over the other, I think. Mm-hmm. So yeah, what do you think, Will? What are your thoughts?
Well, I just remember where I saw the suit, and it is from Sugar Club, so that's badass. But anyway, I agree with you. I think the social experience, is probably the single most important thing. I mean, we talk about it all the time in Ethermon's case as well, and a lot of the stuff that we're seeing as far as claiming to be the metaverse, like the first thing that they implement is social experiences. So obviously that's going to be the dominant form of like focus for when we're building out that metaverse. And then I guess the next form would be just allowing the community to contribute. So in whatever way it's going to be, like that's going to be the main ability to contribute to that specific metaverse. So obviously we like what Decentraland has built here, where pretty much anybody can contribute. But that's the thing. I think the most sustainable way to build out the metaverse is having the community to get involved. And so we're going to be building the frameworks for that. And one of the ways that we're going to start out with is focusing on the accessories. So we'll have a framework for the accessories for the community to contribute to. And then you have, like, if you have a design of an accessory that you think might work, there is going to be sort of an application that you can kind of interact with on MetaZone's site that will allow you to upload and test a couple of your ideas. So that's going to be very cool. We are all headed to the roof here. I know, man, you can't see. Yeah.
I can imagine it. Yeah. So what's up there at the moment? The superchargers and transporter and the replicator. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we talked also yesterday about, because there's still a little bit of confusion. I mean, I can imagine, from especially a lot of newcomers to the whole MetaZone platform, to the metaverse, to Rovi's, whatever. Like, a lot of people are new to this whole sector, so there's a lot of questions, and it's very difficult to explain everything in like a couple of breaths. So our response is we need to do a better job at creating. Yesterday, what I was talking about was the versus pages. The versus.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's so true. I had so much to say. We ran out of time yesterday, but that's important, because I mean, what we're doing here is kind of new. So if you don't already know, our belief is, when you're designing a game, especially in an open metaverse like Decentraland and like what Rovi Matrix is going to be like, when it's open and it's completely owned by the community, we feel like the community should own the components of a particular game. And so in this case, we're talking about Rovi's, for example. And so what does that look like, and what does that mean? So essentially, any function that happens within the game, like battling, PvE battling, replicating, upgrading, all those functions are going to be their own NFTs. And so you'll be able to acquire these NFTs and deploy them and design your own land in however you want. So, one example that someone came up with, and I think it was either DJ Triforce or one of the guys there, they were going to design an arena for the PvP battles. And
that's Third Eye.
Third Eye, there it is. So Third Eye would design this arena, which might look completely different than someone who already has that PvP function on their land. And so what we want to do is we want to encourage that uniqueness, right? You want to create an experience that people want to come back to, because the idea is that you're going to generate revenue by having people to compete with each other on your land. So that's the idea, and the components are going to be distributed to the community. And so when you're playing the game itself, you're not playing Rovi, you're actually interacting with other community members. And so one of the things that we were discussing yesterday during that call was that the owners of these functions can decide what price to interact with these functions. And so, for example, replicating at a land that someone's hosting is going to cost different than going to a different replicator. And I guess the idea is that when the community sets the price, then it's like a free market. Like that's how things work in the real world. And this is an experiment that we're going to be trying in this digital world. So I think that's going to be kind of the more interesting things personally for me, just to see how it all plays out. Ivan and I always talk about the economy of things, and having a sustainable economy is like the single most important thing to a game. We talk about Axie Infinity as well. And yeah, so we're trying to see, what's the best method to implement something like this. And so far, it seems like an open market system is going to be probably a lot more sustainable, a lot more better in terms of lifespan than just like automatically setting prices.
Definitely. And it's just more flexibility, I think. Flexibility of things is always I tend to like, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just you get to adapt, especially in the crypto world where things are constantly evolving and changing, especially the price of things. So yeah, like
Yeah.
the tools for an economy need to be very dynamic in that kind of, more so than like an economic system that we're used to. It's in the real world, it's very much more, as unstable as it seems. It's much more stable than what a metaverse economy will probably look like, that everything's pegged to the valuation of a very volatile assets class. It's very difficult. So yeah, allowing that dynamic ability for landowners, hosts, creators, whatever, just to kind of like adapt to these new ecosystem changes, like that's going to be very important. So yeah, that was one thing we talked about. But yeah, obviously there's a lot of steps that have to happen before we get to that point, but it's still important to keep these conversations going so that we know we could build that internal roadmap, right? So that we know the direction that the project needs to take. So,
and a lot of the stuff that we're building with Rovi's, we're building the framework for others to kind of like make their own content as well. So we got to remember that MetaZone is a platform, and we want to continue building out the metaverse, right? In everyone's their own image, right? So we're building out that platform, and one of the comments that I didn't get to say yesterday was that when we were comparing sort of MetaZone to like Steam, and in Steam you see a bunch of Steam games, and they're relatively finished games, right? They have teams, they have like the art, they have the gameplay, they have pretty much everything. And in a lot of cases, you play the beta in some of the newer games, and then there's a full release. But I think in the crypto space, a lot of the times that we see a game, it's basically just a dream, an idea, a concept. And those tends to do pretty well. I mean, if they have pretty good marketing, they do pretty well. But it's much harder to actually implement the game than it is to come up with an idea or a concept of a game. And so what we're seeing here is the idea of the distribution of the functions to the community is sort of new. And what we need to do better at is, when we have the design of the game, we outline all the metas that are going to be required to make this game like sustainable, like an ecosystem. And so we need to do better for Rovi's. We need to kind of outline exactly what those metas are going to be. And I think it's relatively simple. I mean, it's not any, we haven't disclosed, or we haven't I guess missed on any of the missing functions for Rovi's. Like, for example, there is the upgrading of your Rovi, right? That's going to be a function built within the PvE. So PvE, you're essentially going to be collecting loot, right? After you complete your battles. And then, so that's one meta, the PvE. Another one is a PvP, right? You battle with each other, right? And then there's going to be sort of like a system set up where you don't necessarily get to select who you battle at the beginning, but it's going to be sort of automated in the sense that we'll select your opponent for you automatically. So that's PvP is another meta. Another one is obviously the replicator. So you'll be able to deploy the thing, behind me right now. It's the item behind me is called the replicator, and you'll be able to replicate new Rovi's but you need to have the token itself. You need to have some materials to replicate. So there are sort of like a system to actually replicate. You can't just go and create a new one. So there's that. I don't think there's that many more metas that are missing. Maybe a crafting meta to craft a weapon. But other than that, I don't think there's any more metas that are missing here, right, Iman?
I'm sure there are. That's the thing. The meta. like a game verse is like a forever expansive experience. It's not like once, even though we could lay the foundation to a game with like, let's call it like a core group of metas, it doesn't mean like that's it. You can always add on more custom abilities, like different kinds of, I don't know, experiences, to the existing foundation, so I guess if you're asking if there are more metas necessary to close the loop from like an economy standpoint, then probably not many more, but it's
and I think
it's difficult to say. We can't claim ever there's an end to anything, because we haven't finished a verse yet, right? We haven't gotten to the point, so we don't actually know how many metas it requires to create an actual full-fledged closed loop economy in the metaverse. Right.
Yeah, that's sort of the point. Is that we do need to outline what those metas are going to be to close the loop, and I think that's the only consideration that we're making when coming up with these metas. Is we need to have a full closed loop, meaning when you are doing a PvE battle, you're doing it for a reason. You're not just doing it to collect loot, right? And then when you're doing a PvP battle, you're doing it for a reason. It's not just a battle, right? And then when you're replicating a Rovi, you're doing it for a reason. It's just not to replicate for the sake of replicating, because that's what the function is. So that's what it means to have a closed loop. There's reasons to what you're doing. And so we need to outline that in the versus page on MetaZone. But like I said, it really isn't that many to close the loop. We're trying to make this simple so that anyone can kind of jump in, but also deep so that hardcore players can really optimize their experience for the maximum gains. I mean, I think I speak for Iman as well when it comes to blockchain gaming and play to earn. People are going to try the game is to maximize potential earnings. That's the game, right? You do that by battling, upgrading, PvP, all that stuff. But I think that's ultimately what the game's going to be. This is a game of economy, right? That's one of those types of games where you try to optimize the experience. I mean, that's it. And so it's going to be cool to kind of see people, with their unique Rovies do battles. I think there's going to be this is a good spectating sport. And then on top of that, you're going to be able to play on your phone too. So that's going to be the main focus for us.
Okay. Yeah, I think we pretty much covered what we talked about yesterday. So are there any updates on so Thursday is the next scheduled unboxing event. Do you have any updates as far as, the progress of things or like the experience itself? Or has that horse been beaten to death by now, or what?
No.
Is everyone aware of what it is that's actually going to happen on unboxing day?
While I look up the notes, if you guys have any questions, if this is the first time you're here listening to us, definitely post some questions. There are no dumb questions, and so go ahead and post them, and we'll take a look and answer them. As I look at my notes, so there are a couple of items. So we had set the unboxing date. What was it? On Thursday? Was that the 8th or the 9th? And I think we overestimated how much work there was to actually complete the unboxing, because there's a couple of components that we need to finish. And so at the time, what we want to do in this unboxing event, since every single Rovi is going to be unique when you unbox, we figured that this is going to be a very shareable experience. So what we did was, let's come up with a way where it automatically records the unboxing experience so that, people take their MP4 file, which is maybe 5 seconds long, and share that on Twitter, and could be a good way to kind of showcase all the new Rovies that are being essentially created, right? And so when you unbox, there's going to be a cool little animation, and then in your MetaZone account, you'll be able to download an MP4 file. Shouldn't be, it's going to be a few megabytes, so it's not a huge download. And so it'll be a quick video, the unboxing. You can share that on your social networks, and a couple of other stuff that we need to finish is not only the animations, but we need to figure out what the sounds are going to be. So there's going to be sounds to this. And on my notes here, it says product stats trait transfer to award assets. So what we want to do is, on top of this unboxing, is you'll end up with 2 NFTs. So the current NFT you have is a transporter that's closed. The trait of it is going to be updated to open, right? So there's going to be an update to that NFT. And then we're going to mint you a new NFT, a supercharger NFT with that unique Rovi inside. And so if you look in your transporter right now, you'll see kind of like a template Rovi inside. It's just a basic Rovi. And when you unbox it, you're going to see your actual real unique Rovi inside. And so what we need to do is when we capture the GIF file for the NFT, we need to be capturing the unique Rovi inside so that when you go to OpenSea, you'll be able to see that unique Rovi. So there's a lot of technical aspects to that to complete, and so that's in progress. We're still on track for the 16th, and if not, we'll definitely keep you posted. But we're pretty much 90% done, so we'll be ready by September 16th. Yeah, because the only stuff that we're missing right now is just the animation. So that's pretty much it.
All right, cool. Right on, dude. Then the 16th, it's on. Do we have a POAP for the 16th event yet?
We will have a POAP for the 16th, yes.
Okay. All right, man. We're going to rendezvous. That's this Thursday?
That is, this Thursday.
So we have a bit of a hurricane situation coming in hot where we live. Well, I think it's a tropical storm, actually. Yeah. But it should be well and gone by then. Hopefully we're not like totally flooded and underwater. But in the event
we've been there before too,
in underwater, we'll let everybody know through our cellular devices. But yeah, pray for us, guys. Make sure we don't get flooded and underwater.
Yeah,
I think everything should be fine. Like Houston, Texas, we're used to this kind of stuff, dude. Like extreme weather events, like come on, we're veterans at this point, so we'll be good.
Okay, let me see if there's any questions to look at here. If I missed any, let me know, repost it. But it says, do you think it would be a good idea to leave your Rovi unboxed until the end of time? So this is a good question, a common question. And I think the original idea was to leave it up to you guys to see if, from a speculative perspective, does it make sense to keep it boxed? Now, from a gameplay perspective and from a mint number perspective, it doesn't make sense to keep it boxed. And because what's going to happen, and the reason why we do these events pretty consistently is because specifically on September 16th, when you unbox, the first person to unbox is going to get the earlier mint. And because everything is procedurally generated, if we don't do that, then we'd have to like pick and choose like who gets what Rovi, and like it becomes a mess, and it's like not procedurally generated at that point. It's just selected. So because everything is procedurally generated, the mint number is based on the mint, right? So what we want to do is create that event where we basically say refresh. Everybody's going to refresh. They're going to see an unbox button on their inventory account, and then you click on that button, and then it's basically off to the races. Like who's going to get the first, one of the earlier mints, essentially. And so that's why we decided to set that event, because some people might care about early mints. From a gameplay perspective, it doesn't matter if you have an early mint or a late mint. So, hopefully that answers the question.
Okay, sounds like everybody's unboxing. Nice.
Yeah. So giveaway. There is a giveaway in a few more minutes, Anubis.
We'll pop that around 1:40 or so, about 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
TJ, he says, if you don't unbox, will it still give you the other ones when you unbox? Yes, you can wait to unbox at any time, and you're still going to get a supercharger and then eventually a Rovi if you unbox a supercharger. So you don't have to unbox on Thursday. It's just if you care about the earlier mints, you're going to want to show up on Thursday, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is, let's see. I'm unboxing for sure. Thank you, Juxin. I wish I had a Rovi to keep in the box. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it goes back to like, when we were kids, when we used to collect, from Pokemon cards to like figurines or whatever it was, the sentiment from our superiors, right, our adults would be like, hey, it might be worth more if you keep it in the box. And well, we were trying to see if does it really apply. I guess it would apply if you designed a game that said, there's more valuable if you keep it, but you can't really play a game when things are boxed, right? So it's kind of weird.
Totally.
Okay, let's see. Any other questions?
What's your background, Will? You guys seem very knowledgeable. Just curious where it came from.
Well, I think our backgrounds have been turbulent, to say the least. So my background, I got a chemical engineering degree, and I started in the engineering field right out of college, and it was fine. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, in 2009, it was a complete crash of the economy, and it was extremely hard to get a job, so I was very fortunate to have one at the time. And so I spent 5 years there, 5 or so years, until I started another business that was focused on cryptography specifically. And it was focused on security of payment cards. And so I spent a lot of time on that business. And so that was acquired by another business. And at that time, I think it was like 2016. Yeah, 2016. When I started to learn about Bitcoin. And I actually heard about Bitcoin in 2012, 2013, because I was already in cryptography and someone had asked me in real life, right, which was extremely rare. It's like, hey, have you heard of Bitcoin? And of course, I reacted just like everybody else is, oh, that's just internet funny money. It's going to go away soon. And at the time, I didn't look into it, right? I was just blowing it off just because it's easier to blow stuff off, right? And so I blew it off. 2016 came, started looking into it again. I grew up with Iman, actually his older brother, and we started, just chatting. It's like, hey, you're in cryptocurrency too? And it's like, yeah, and blah, blah, blah. We started a podcast and
Well, yeah, it's because I asked you the first time because you joined Telegram, which back then was like the only people using Telegram were freaking crypto nerds. So I was like, it's like, Will must have the itch. And I was like, dude, are you into crypto? And he's like, sure am. He's like, all right, let's go eat some enchiladas and talk about it, pretty much. And that's how the whole shebang started. I guess Will, at the end of that conversation, was like, dude, it's like, we need to start a podcast or something like that.
Yeah, because
that's how things started.
Because it was such a good conversation. He was like deep into trading. I was more like deep into the tech. And so he was like, what is this hashing thing? What's going on in this mining thing? So I would explain it to him. And it was a good conversation, right? And we were like, eating at, fajitas or enchiladas and they were like, it was such a good conversation. Like, dude, this needs to be a podcast. And then we started, it was in the peak of the bear, right? This is like complete despair. And at the time, even then, I knew enough to know, it was like, man, this is the bottom, dude. It's like, it was at $3,200 Bitcoin. And I was like, man, this is it. This is the bottom. And you were kind of like skeptical. We're going to see 1,000. I was like, no, dude. I mean, you guys could go listen to like the very early podcast. I mean, we have that same conversation there. And then not too long into the early podcast days, we interviewed Maddie, DCO blogger. And at the time, Decentraland was just a black grid of squares. And so we were speculating along with him as to what Decentraland could be, what could it look like, and we were extremely interested. And then Oscar listened to it, and he was like, and then soon after, the beta launched for Decentraland, and then he was like deploying stuff, and he was like, man, it's hard to deploy, and then he made MetaZone, and
now here we are, dude. What a journey. So thanks for asking that question, because it's good to go down memory lane from time to time, dude. And a lot of you guys are you just now meeting us, essentially.
Yeah.
Some of you guys are day one homies, though. Shout out to you guys, like, for real. I don't know if P-Dub's in here. I think he was, but P-Dub, definitely almost a day one homie. Frankie Needles is definitely a day one homie.
Yeah. Frankie Needles was the first one to buy a Meta.
Yeah. The first Meta I think Oscar made was a graffiti wall, right?
Yeah.
Which essentially, it's like, if you're familiar with like, what's that shit called? Pixel Chain?
Pixel Chain, that's it.
There's like an art platform where it's like pixel art. You just go there, you create a little pixel creation, then you can mint it into an NFT. We pretty much had the same concept, but like just an actual physical wall that you could deploy on your land. Anybody can pay a little bit of a fee to tag it up with the little pixel art.
Yeah.
Eventually, we would have converted it into like, actual NFT minting platform of its own. It's like a mini NFT minting platform within an NFT minting platform. It's pretty fucking wild. But instead of actually finishing that, we, started making games, and then, now
I'm actually showing the graffiti wall, by the way. I'm showing it. So yeah, that's the graffiti wall. So you can go and at the time you could pay 10 mana to update this wall, and you can kind of like use your phone to kind of draw everything out. But yeah, we still intend to finish it. I mean, obviously it's a low priority task, but yeah, think of an NFT that mints NFTs. I mean, that it's a cool concept, right? So yeah, that's still gonna be like part of the roadmap for sure.
Yeah, definitely got our feet wet, like as far as like creating things for the metaverse, and those are cool times, dude. When we first started in Decentraland, we're just like sitting there on the couch, like I'm just like sipping on a couple beers, and we're just like thinking, like, dude, what the hell should we build?
Yeah.
It's like, well, what the hell? Like, that's the coolest thing about the metaverse is like it's endless limitate. Well, there are limitations, but it's like endless possibilities, I guess. Like from a creative perspective, like what to make. So that's right. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and then, yeah, like from that graffiti wall creation, it attracted a lot of people. We sold a lot of those. I think we sold like 40 or 50 of them.
Yeah.
Those are the first, like, purchasable assets in the metaverse, so those little graffiti walls have a lot of history, I think.
Yeah, they do.
It definitely got the ball rolling to this whole metafication ideology, what do you want to call it?
Yeah, Jackson is, and I quote, NFTs, minting NFTs is the singularity.
That's what's up. Okay, it's 1:40, dude. Let's deploy the bot.
All right, give me a second, guys. Let me have a chat with this bot, and it'll be deployed in a few seconds.
Okay, cool. You guys know the drill. 10-minute timer. Spam. Well, click that confetti button. Oh, look at that! Look at that. Is that the robot you were talking about? Yeah, it's got a sugar club.
Yeah.
So 10 mana is pretty expensive nowadays, like to graffiti something. But back when we did it, mana was like 3 cents. So it was literally like you're rubbing pennies together just to put up a piece of art. So that's what I was talking about earlier. That's why these dynamic flexibilities need to be in place for like an ever-changing economy. It's like 10 mana today is, you got to think twice before you want to create something, right? Mm-hmm. For $10 or however much mana costs these days.
Yeah. All right, there's going to be one winner of the Rovi transporter. Okay.
There it is.
All right, it is live. So if you're on YouTube, make sure you go to our Discord. The link is in the description, and find the channel called Live Chat, and then look for the bot and react to that bot, and then you're in. All right, so yeah, you got 10 minutes, so you got a pretty good amount of time to kind of jump in and get that going.
Yeah, for you guys on YouTube, be sure to hop in the Discord channel to engage with the bot.
We got a question. We got a question from Mohib on YouTube. He says, "Will Rovi's be available as native mobile apps like Android and iOS?" Loving the podcast. Thank you, Mohib. Yeah. So yes. So we are. I don't know if you guys are keeping up with the news, but Epic Games and Apple just had like a fallout, and I think mostly Apple won. Apple won pretty much everything except the one thing, that developers aren't allowed, or they're not forcing developers to use their payments functionality, where they get a cut of every single transaction. And but that's besides the point. But anyway, we are going to create an iOS app and an Android app, just to leverage the hardware on your phone. Because if it's just like a website, you're not utilizing the full potential of the hardware. And phones are pretty powerful these days. So yeah, that's the plan. And there's a couple of technical stuff that we need to figure out as far as the playing the game on the phone with assets that are on your MetaMask, for example. But there's ways around it. I mean, it's nothing that can't be done. So, but yeah, we still got to figure a couple of things out. But nonetheless, that is in progress. That is part of the roadmap here, is to get those apps out there.
Okay, right on. Maybe part of the yeah, we'll have a discussion how to make like a more publicly visible roadmap and maintain our beliefs on like flexibility is key to things. So like it's not like it's one of these like set in stone maps, right? Like well, we definitely need a set in stone meta map for the versus page, but like this whole mobile development stuff, like when should the community expect them, right? So we need some type of visible projection, I guess. So we should definitely get working on that. I think we will. And then I think we could definitely incorporate that into our roundtable discussions. Maybe if certain items seem to not need to be done in the future for whatever reason, or certain items seem to be need to be done sooner than others, like
yeah,
these are good conversations to have with the community. So as opposed to just kind of like, you know, trying to think of these things like in the moment, right? We just need more structure, more tools, I guess, to navigate these decisions. So yeah, that'll be one on our internal task list, is to come up with this roadmap for sure.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
I think we can do that in Notion, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That should be pretty easy, and it's easy to update too. So I like that format better.
Okay, cool. Okay, guys. Any other questions? So I think we're all waiting and anticipating the bot. It should pop here in about 5 minutes or so.
Okay, we got 80 interactions. Pretty good.
Yeah, man. Just can't wait till we get. So yeah, there's a few things that obviously are on priority, because like we want these community events, and it's the same for Ethamon, right? Mm-hmm. We want these community events to be much more intimate and social, meaning like we should all be in the metaverse. We should all be showcasing what Mons or Rovi's we have, stuff like this, right? So this is the big short-term vision, right? Like to get things much more social, at least in Decentraland. Mm-hmm. So yeah, right now I'm already visualizing it, dude. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
Well, the problem is I probably can't even participate, dude, for whatever reason. I can't even get in there. Freaking A.
Well, we'll figure that out. It's I'm sure it's solvable.
I'm pretty sure it's like a pop-up issue. I just need to like disable all my freaking pop-up blockers or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, you're not using Brave, are you, huh?
Negatory.
Dude, wow.
Are you happy, guys? Is he asking us? I don't know who he's asking that to.
Yeah, are
Very
you
happy, dude.
Happy?
Are you happy, Will?
That's a deep question, dude. If you think about it.
Nobody's ever asked me that, dude.
Yeah.
Like, are you happy?
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, there's a lot.
What is happiness, dude?
Yeah, what is
like
happiness?
Now we're going down the philosophical rabbit hole. What is happiness, dude?
Yeah,
Tell us, Anubis. I want to know, Anubis the priest.
Yeah, Anubis, are you happy?
It got me thinking now. Like everybody's like, are you guys all happy? It's like start thinking about that question. Anubis is very happy.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
There you go, Jackson. Have you seen the new Matrix trailer? See, that made me happy.
Hell yeah, dude.
So to me, if happiness is just like a never-ending stream of like a dopamine release, then yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, the trailer looks so badass. It was very obscure, like very doesn't say a lot, but it's certainly after 20 years, we've upgraded our tech for sure.
Oh, that's funny. John Wick learning the Matrix. Yeah, it definitely felt like that. Like I'm cool with that. I'm cool with like they're remaking the first movie but with a different spin. That's what it felt like from the trailer. It's like all of a sudden, like Neo and what's that girl's name? I guess they're back in the Matrix,
Trinity.
Right? And like maybe his brain is like warped. He doesn't actually Trinity. Yeah, Trinity. Yeah. He doesn't remember. Like he went. He's like, oh, it was just a dream in his mind.
Yeah,
something must have happened. I don't know.
No,
but yeah,